This is a single as well, not with a fairing on. But this is the most extreme single we ever built. It has 100 horsepower, and it weighs 117 kilograms.
100 horsepower single.
Yes.
I feel like when a lot of the rule books were written and they put unlimited singles, they weren't anticipating somebody building a 100 horsepower single.
Well, this is a customer bike, you know. We did that project together. So he said, Markus, how extreme can we go on the singles?
That seems harder to bleed. What am I missing?
No, you just have to make sure that you have enough in here. So I know that many say you have to have this somewhere above here, but you know, we never had any issues with riding that you get air in.
Or maybe you just keep it up when you first service it.
I mean, when you bleed it, it's just sucking here. Right? So as long as here you have the fluid in, it cannot suck air.
Yeah, it looks cool that way.
It's more protected when you crash.
And is that a clamp for the bearing holder?
Yeah, we have an insert there that we can adjust the head angle of the motorcycle. So that's standard on all GP2 bikes for us. For the Evo, this is a special build-up, as I said. That's the only Evo that has this feature.
And
so you can adjust the angle. You can also adjust the offset of the triple clamps, you know, from 26 to 28.
How did you decide on your standard trail number? Like when you ship it?
The standard setting? I mean, we have a handful of trusted test riders, and you know, it's always a compromise.
It's always a compromise.
And we try to get the best compromise, you know, that suited the most people. But the cool thing on our bikes is that it is adjustable in many ways. So when you're super tall, super small, whatever, you can really adjust it to your needs. You know, when you're super fast, you need a different setting than you're just a beginner, first time on the track. So yeah, we have a lot more adjustability in our chassis than any other road bike.
Oh, yeah. So let me ask you a philosophic question. And I realize this is asking a father to tell me which of his children he loves most. But so the, say, 2012 BMW S1000, very stiff chassis, which gave you a very small window where the bike would work well, like in terms of geometry and spring and everything. It was a pretty, when it worked well, it worked really well, but it was kind of 2 millimeters too far, and now you were out of the window. I'm imagining these bikes are so light that the window's pretty big, where they work pretty well at the range of the adjustment, or do you think that they have kind of a narrow window where they're going to work?
No, the window is for sure really wide. You know, from I'm the first day at the track and I feel comfortable on the bike, to, you know, really professional riders setting up really decent lap times. You know, we raced with this bike in the BSB championship in top 10 in super sport class. So even really professional fast riders can go really fast on our machines. A dyno jet in here. This is not fully finished, so working on setting it up. So I don't know if you wanna. Work in progress, huh? Oh.
Yeah, sure.
But
So,
in ground, that's a big change to tugging.
yeah, so you don't have to lift it up. Yeah, no, the way you've got the lift set into the floor is beautiful. How long did it take you to design your new building?
1 year of planning everything, and a bit more than 1 year now building everything.
What was who did your inaugural donut on the floor?
We had an opening party 1 week ago.
That was the celebratory.
Yes.
The celebratory donut. So that was permissioned, not illicit.
Yeah, I've still, my leg is burned, from the hot rubber. I'm standing here in short trousers.
And got sprayed. Are you doing anything to the motors after you get them from KTM?
No, there are different settings of the motor, but we get them ready to install from KTM.
So do they build them special for you?
Yes.
So slightly higher.
On the R, it's a higher engine spec. This is also built for the RC8C. I mean, the RC8C is in principle the GP2R.
In principle.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, that's not a secret. It's a official cooperation between KTM and Kramer. So our GP2R bike is the base of the RC8C vehicle. So it's a different bodywork on it.
But it's basically the KTM branded Kramer.
Yes.
Okay, so they're using your frame?
Yes, we built the bikes for.
All right. So these are
the R engines.
These are R engines, which are super fancy.
Race use only.
Race use only.
Yes.
In English. All right, and what is the race use only engine?
It is, when you compare it to a stock 890 engine, it has different pistons, Punkel pistons, titanium Punkel conrod, racing camshafts, titanium valves, the head CNC machined heads, and a bigger throttle body.
And what's the service life? Like how many race miles before you recommend rebuilding it?
5,000 kilometers.
Oh, so pretty long.
Yeah.
3,000 miles. Yeah.
Yes.
So pretty long. And then who does the rebuilds for the engines?
It can be done at every KTM dealer, because it's an official KTM engine. So they can do it. All the parts are available through KTM. And also our service partners, Kramer dealers, can do this work.
Gotcha. Is that a customer race trailer, or is that
No, this is ours.
That's your test race trailer?
Yes. But it's now used private, for my employees for their little trip.
That's how it works, right?
Yes.
And what are we looking at here?
This is a GP2R.
Is this a stock bike or is this a customer bike?
This is a bike from one of my mechanics. It's a private bike.
Look at that paint.
It's a special paint.
Oh my God. And carbon wheels. This is one of your mechanics?
Yes.
I feel like your mechanics must be very well paid. And you have the little air scoop on the bottom. All right, the air scoop on the bottom.
Yes.
On this bike.
Yes.
Is it aerodramatic, or does it actually perform a function?
I would say really it's cooling the tire. That's the main function of it. But this is a KTM part, you know, from the RC8C. So which he put on his bike. Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the cut guys. You know, the engineering guys are in this office here. We also have some external, you know, sitting in the UK or Switzerland, working remote.
And
you're gonna be in the movie, yeah?
Yeah. And so when you're making a new top triple clamp, and you're trying to figure out what's just the right amount of flex in the top triple clamp, how are you doing that now? Is it experience, or are you actually modeling it out?
It's always both sides. It's modeling, but it's always a theoretical number. You know, in the calculations, you never get all the factors in the calculation. So you always later on need the proof on the track. You know, see, you know, what we calculated, does it feel as we think it is? And ideally, you have also, you know, some kind of test bench, you know, to measure the stuff that you calculated. Then you have the whole picture, you know. And yeah, for us, it's always simulation, going to the track, simulation, and then, you know, compare the numbers and the feeling.
And hope that your test rider didn't hurt himself riding motocross over the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Things like this are happening. But yeah, I think it's always important, you know, to have to not only be on track and go and feel, because you know, when you have numbers either from a measurement or from a calculation, you know, you can build, you know, when you next time build a different motorcycle, and you already know, okay, these numbers feels like this on the track on this bike, so let's aim for these numbers for the new design. You're a lot faster, you know, in the, you know, where you want to be, and go a lot faster into the fine tuning.
Well, and even like a track is not a track, right? It's like, oh, it rained 2 days ago, or there was a car race and they drifted oil all over it, or you know, it's like, that's the beauty and the frustration of motorcycles.
It's never finished.
It's never finished.
It's never finished.
And this is expansion area?
Yes, correct. Because we also, you know, our external cut guys, you know, they come in, let's say, on every 6 weeks, and you know, we have some just free space that they can be there.
Camp out in.
Yes.
And the kitchen, which sort of tells them that they're going to be here a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have bunk beds? Not yet?
Actually, I think we have one in there.
And this is more design?
No, accounting and purchasing.
Administration.
Administration, yeah.
Did you find a deal on the parts yet?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Believe it or not, we're going to save like potentially $2 to $6 per little button, those multicolored A-pen buttons.
Yes.
Per button, there's 4 per bike.
4 per bike.
No.
Nice.
Don't disturb her.
Well, okay, right. Okay. Get those profits up.
Yeah.
Excellent. And how much of the square footage or square meters that you have now are you currently using? Looks like maybe about...
Yeah, I mean...
You've got plenty of room for growth.
Yes, I mean, there's a meeting room, you know,
Have you had a meeting yet?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, plenty. Yeah. I mean, as I said, the decoration is missing in the screen, but we already had the first meeting.
It's fun to be in here in your 3rd week, because, yeah, I'm imagining I'll be back here in 3 years, and yeah, you'll have lost your hair. It'd been like,
Good joke, good joke.
You'll be smoking all the time and just
I'm
be
not
like,
smoking.
and I'd be like, hey, have you been home yet? You're like, I haven't gone home yet.
This is my home.
Yeah, this is my home. And you've got some stands waiting to get the bike up in the elevator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we planned the elevator, of course, that we can fit a motorcycle in there, right?
I got some friends of mine to help me carry bikes up into the top floor of our building.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, this is my office here.
Did you rent out Mugello?
Yes.
You did?
No. This was the very first outing of the single-cylinder race bike that I built with a friend, before I started my company.
Well, that is sort of like the Kalex story, isn't it? At least the way they say it.
I don't really fully know that.
You don't talk to them?
We are not in contact. Of course, I know Kalex and I know the bikes, but
I feel like I feel like you guys need a professional association where, like, once a year, it would be like you, somebody from Sox, KTM, like
sit together.
Right, yeah, exactly. And maybe even invite some of the Italians, you know? I mean, just like, because I was like, there can't be that many people, but you guys are all in this sort of like Habsburg, Austria-Hungary, like, area. It's funny when you like zoom out and you're like, oh, it's all
in there.
It's all right in there on either side of the Alps. Beautiful. And so do you ride yourself?
I did 10 years ago.
You did 10 years ago?
So when I started my company, that was the end of my racing career.
Did you get hurt or did you just say...
No, I was always the engineer and the racer. Back in the days when I used to work for KTM, and this was just my hobby. Developing a race bike, race it in my free time, and over the years, with the deeper I got into the development phase of the vehicle, the more important that became to me.
And how many years did you work for KTM?
7 years.
7 years as a mechanical engineer?
As a cut engineer. I started as a cut engineer in R&D and ended as a group leader for the accessories.
And then you were like, I have to follow my art. I have to follow my art.
No, really, at that, I was 30 years old, and I really had the inner drive and wish, to do that. And I knew if I want to risk it and do it, I have to do it now, because at that time I didn't have a family and no responsibilities. And I say, okay, I'll try it. But I also knew I need the cooperation with KTM, because I can develop a chassis, but I cannot develop an engine. And I knew that KTM doesn't sell engines separately. So I knew that's going to be the key thing. Will I get engines from KTM?
How hard was it to make that deal?
It was a lot easier than I thought. It was tough to get a meeting with the board of KTM. I was just a small group leader in R&D, so I had no connections to the board members. And was trying. I think it took me half a year to get a meeting with Hubert Trunkenbolz. And honestly, I thought when I walked in there that he has to run a big company, and then little Markus coming in telling about his idea about building race bikes. Was your heart
beating hard going into that meeting?
Yes, of course. Yeah. I thought you say, "Fuck, we have real problems here. Go out."
Right. Yeah. Right.
And what are you thinking of your own company? Your head is already out of the company. Get your papers, and you're fired.
Right.
That was my expectation, going in the meeting, but it completely went the opposite way. So he really has a big heart for racing. So he was really listening, and he was really also passionate about my plan, and say that's awesome. You're going into a niche where KTM is just too big to be there, because the market is not big enough, and we cannot make the units. But we can join together. We support you. You can buy the engines from us. And that was the starting point. When I went out that door, I say, okay, I cannot go back now.
So
Hubert Trunkenbolz said yes.
So it took 6 months to get the meeting. How many days was it until you had the handshake, or was it in that meeting?
Yeah, in the meeting. It
Wow.
was, yeah. I mean, really, KTM is a big company, but you know, the board members, you know, it's...
They can move fast.
Yes, if they say yes and they give a handshake, yeah,
Then
you
you're
can
good to
trust
go.
and rely on that.
Excellent. And what's the one book that you've got?
Yeah, I'm also still moving in, eh?
But this one got so if you want to design a motorcycle chassis with a rear-mounted gas tank, this is the book you need?
There's nothing about rear-mounted gas tanks, but let's say it's kind of a Bible, you know, for mechanical engineers.
In motorsports or for,
No,
for
in general.
anything?
In general.
In German,
In German.
of course. So you've got 30 employees building 100 motorcycles.
Now this year we already built 220 so far.
Oh, so you've almost doubled from last year.
Yeah, last year was 150 was wrong, 200 was last year. And this year we will make 300.
And are those all sold before they're built, or are you like, how much inventory are you carrying?
They're not all sold before we built them. You know, our production is at the moment half for KTM and half Kramer bikes. And you know, of course, we have to do the planning for the bike already 1 year in advance. Ja, oder ab?
Ja.
Kein Blödsinn machen, ne? Viel Spaß, ne?
What's he walking out with?
They're now heading off to the track.
And what track, I probably won't know it, but what track do you use for your test track?
Different tracks. So there's not really a closed track here. There's only the Salzburg ring, which is nearby, but they're really strict with the noise and there's not much opportunity to go there. So really most of the tracks are about 400 kilometers from here. And there are like, I would say 10 tracks in that radius. And you know, we mainly go east or south, you know, because, you know.
How far is Misano? That's pretty far.
Misano is about 6-hour drive.
Oh, that's not that bad. But over the Alps.
Yes, but you know, you're quick in Italy from here.
Over the Brenner.
Yeah. So in Italy, it's Misano, Mugello, Cremona. These are the tracks where we usually go. But most of the time, it's Czech Republic, Brno, or Slovakia ring, or Pannonia ring in Hungary, or Rijeka in Croatia.
And what did your dad do?
My dad built this thing here.
Did he?
Yes.
He's in construction?
No, yeah, he's a retired.
But what did he do when he was working?
When he was working, he was a production leader for. It's a company who built gearboxes for big container ships. So
Gearboxes for container ships.
yes.
I think that is something that you would not want to have break.
No. Big thing. No, so my father has, you know, he never worked in construction, but you know, even at the time when he was, you know, in charge for the production in his company, the company expanded a lot, and you know, they built a lot of new halls, and he was involved in that process. And you know, I would always say that's his hobby, you know, to build industrial buildings.
Yeah.
And he did it 3 years ago for my brother, and yeah, the last 2 years here in Burghausen. But really, of course, we have companies doing all this, but you have to plan and you have to coordinate. You know, that's fucking a lot of work. And without my father, we would not stand here today.
Yeah, it's yeah. it's so much work.
Because I have to focus on the business to keep the business running, and really what my father did was a 40-hour week, just doing that. And if you as a business owner has to do it, and I know that travel from other small companies who are thinking about building, it's always I'm already 100% engaged with my company. How should I how should I do that?
Yes. Yeah. And you have a family.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is the split of deliverable between the RC, between the KTM version and the Kramer branded version? Like, from how many do you make of each? Is it like 50-50, or is it mainly?
Yeah, in total, production numbers is 50-50. So on the Kramer side, it's more models. It's the single cylinder and the twin combined. We make the same number as for KTM at the moment.
And how many of those are getting shipped to the United States?
On the Kramer side, I would say 40% to the US. So really, North America and Europe, these are our main markets, where we focus on. And it's also different between the models. Our single cylinder is more popular in the States than it is in Europe.
Really?
So we sell more.
That belies the stereotype of Americans that just want power.
The good thing in America in the amateur racing world is, the clubs, they have all the different levels of classes, really from the really small bikes up to the super bike. Here in Europe, most of the track day organizers are super bikes. Super bikes 80% and maybe 20% super sport, but underneath super sport, very little.
Not much.
Not much, yeah. That's different in the US.
Yeah, we have like some ragtag, we have very, very focused classes where you can race
Yeah, there's the lightweight, the ultra lightweight, the super mono class, and everybody calls it a little bit different, but in most of the big clubs in America, they have classes for the small bikes. And I personally also think, the small bikes is the most fun.
Yeah.
But the initial question, was having, where do you have the most fun on? When I started my racing career, and it was not really a career, but when I got to the racetrack, got addicted to ride motorcycle on the racetrack, I also thought, I directly need a super bike, like everybody, want power, I need power. I did it 1 year. And
then you get the power and you're like, wow, those brake markers are coming up really fast.
And I really, looked in the mirror, and to be honest to myself, I say, this is, more stress than fun to ride these bikes. And you're always, fucking up the corners. And in my head, it was always, I made it up on the straight. I've got the power. I made it up.
Can't make it up on the straight.
Yeah. And I always just say, no, this is the wrong approach. And there was, when I mentally start off, I need a different bike. I want a super mono. I really like the ergonomics, the super bike feel. Before I was on the racetrack, I was into the supermoto world, let's say. I really love single cylinder bikes. I really want a light single cylinder bike with a full fairing. At that time, I didn't know that the word supermono even exists.
Right, that it was a thing.
I just say, I want this and put it together. So that was the start of the project, and the picture you saw in my office, that a colleague of mine from KTM, we said, okay, let's do that in our free time.
And build one up.
And got some Dukes from the, which are fucked from the R&D, from the endurance test department, to say, these are cheap. Okay, we take these and build our own race bikes. And I was directly, the first year on the super mono. same track, I was 2 seconds faster than on the RC8 Superbike. You know, not because the bike was faster, because I was able to, you know, ride the bike and you know, find myself smiling in the helmet and say, "Fuck, this is racing. I'm just full gas." And
it's easier to hold the throttle at 100% than it is to hold the throttle at 78.2%.
yeah,
And so on lower powered bikes, you get it pointed and you can go, right? But on big powered bikes, it's like, you kind of still do that, but it's not really.
no, and
then
you feel really the difference when you don't ride a nice line or you don't carry the speed. You directly feel it on the little bike, you know, that your momentum is gone and the next corners are also screwed. So you really have to work on your technique, and you are able to work on your techniques because you're not overwhelmed with 200 horsepower and 200 kilograms of bike. It's just so nice and easy to handle. You have the capacity in your brain to focus on your riding techniques, and that was really, you know, just smiling under the helmet and feel like Valentino Rossi, yeah. But you have to make small again. And yeah, here we have some pictures.
Oh, and there's your bunk. How far away is your house?
Upstairs.
Oh, really?
Yes, we have our apartment is upstairs.
So you keep your family right upstairs?
Yes.
So your wife doesn't have to come looking for you. She just knows she can just stomp on the floor when dinner's ready.
So let me see. We've got some racing pictures of Markus Kramer.
Oh, well, those are great.
2013, for example. Yeah, Markus Kramer with a golden ring. Race victory in Rijeka.
Excellent. Who's that?
This is a friend of ours. Yeah, my Evo 1. The bike's still downstairs in the warehouse.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Excellent.
Well, thanks for coming in and visiting us here at our new headquarters in Burghausen. As you saw, we're just moving in. We're operational, but you know, a lot of stuff is still missing. So next time you will also see the nice decoration and the fancy stuff. But it was really cool that you came along and had a look at our new facility at this early stage.